selecting Jaden Daniels, quarterback LSU, and bypassing Drake May, which seems to be the conventional wisdom that the Commanders would be favoring May, but there's a lot of time now between now and the draft. Things could change.
Also, Bobby Slowick is supposed to have, I guess he had a Zoom interview already, but he's going to have his in-person interview. Mm-hmm. Did you say today, JP?
Yes, Ian Rappaport has just tweeted Slowick in-person interview with the Commanders tonight.
And Raheem Morris as well.
He has a second interview with the Falcons later this week. The Falcons are interviewing a ton of guys.
Yeah, it's so funny how this process works. Interviewing all these guys, like 10, 12, 15 guys,
you know what I wish?
Multiple times.
You can't do it. You know, it's un-American, but maybe. But I wish there was a hiring freeze until, like, full-time hiring freeze until after the Super Bowl for everyone. That way, there doesn't have to be this sort of arms race. I don't know. I know they tried to structure it somewhat.
So the Titans led off. They hired Brian Callahan, who was the OC for the Bengals.
Yes.
So I guess gets props for working with Burrow. Also, Browning was not bad when he filled in the second half of the season.
He was actually pretty decent in most of his appearances.
I'm getting
very small sample size.
That the longer this goes on, the less the fix is in for Ben Johnson than had been anticipated. Now, that's just my sense, so I'm sure I'm wrong.
Maybe. I don't know. I found it interesting. Now, what I don't know is what the media showed versus what they didn't show, but I found it interesting that Johnson was asked about Adam Peters and was super complimentary. Was he asked about other organizations?
He should be.
I know, but that stood out. Now, maybe we're only seeing that because we're in Washington and we're seeing him talk about Washington. But I have not seen any clips of Ben Johnson lauding other GMs.
Well, have you looked?
No, that's what I'm saying. I don't know that it's out there.
Yeah.
But what definitely was out there, him definitely answering a question about Washington and really being complimentary about Adam Peters.
Right. Well,
that made it seem like the fix was in.
Well, all that said to me, honestly, and I'm not trying to be a contrarian, but all that says to me is that he's definitely open to taking this job. Like for that whole kind of narrative that, people don't want to work in D.C., I think that's pretty much gone.
Mm-hmm. I think that's been shattered now with Peters being hired.
And the stench of Snyder's gone.
Yeah.
That whether we believe he's going to be a success or not, Josh Harris being the head guy has changed the perception of Washington. And the same thing with the hiring of Adam Peters. The perception of Washington is they're doing business the right way.
Yeah. I'll believe it when I see it, but much better.
You're much more optimistic about the way things are being run.
Yeah, I was going to ask you, as a Commander fan, are you feeling more optimistic day by day, just knowing that there's this huge transition, but it looks like the direction they're going, getting Peters. I'm
not getting ahead of myself, and I've said this.
And who knows about the coach?
I'm not getting ahead of myself because in Scott we trust. That was a disaster. I was so excited when Shanahan was here, and they brought him. I mean, I was like, freaking Hall of Fame coach.
That was all with Snyder in charge. Now it's complete. It's just completely.
I know, but you thought that those guys would overcome it because Snyder was giving Shanahan power,
complete control, allegedly.
Right. Shanahan, I think Shanahan was part of the reason they brought in Bruce Allen.
We can explain away why they failed. Right. I get it. I'm not dumb. I'm just saying I've been down this road before where I get excited for all the hires. The only one. I was even somewhat excited for Zorn because I was a childhood fan of his. To be honest with you, I was even somewhat.
And he
excited.
fit Cakes' picture, young offensive guy.
And he started out 6-2, and he was eccentric, and he had all the weird drills, and he rode his bike to work, and
but he showed up saying maroon and black.
That didn't bother me as much as that bothered others.
He did start off 6-2.
He started out 6. What bothered, and we were going to make a mint on Horny for Zorny. But what bothered me was. Hip hip hooray! That bothered me.
Can we run that again?
I think we have it. I might have it here somewhere.
Maroon and black. I don't care.
Maroon and black is kind of stupid.
It's stupid, but I don't care. Yeah. Hip hip hooray!
Hip hip hooray!
Oh my god, this guy's a weirdo.
I know what I'm doing.
No. So to answer your question, Jason, I'm staying medium.
Right.
To coin a phrase or to steal a phrase.
That's definitely a Zorny.
Definitely not coining it.
Yeah, I'm stealing a phrase. I'm staying medium because I've been down this road before. I'm always burned.
You're staying honest.
But it seems like Peters is a great guy. He was almost like, you weren't here, I don't think. He was almost too nice.
Super nice.
Yeah.
Like he was just like, oh my god,
Soft spoken.
Yeah, I was like, this guy's so soft spoken.
But he's a behind the
But I
scenes
bet
guy.
you
I have no
both-
problem with that.
I know it's fine, but I mean, I was like, what a gentle, nice guy.
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
I expected a little more edge.
But
to him.
again, he could be different behind closed doors.
I'm sure he is,
Oh,
and I'm
I
sure
guess
he's
he is.
extremely competent.
Yeah.
I'm just saying that was my perception.
Would your confidence change? And I saw this online as we talked about Eric Bieniemy having his interview yesterday. If everybody has this faith now in Adam Peters and Josh Harris, but it seems like that faith will be completely shaken if he hires Eric Bieniemy.
If he hires Bieniemy, then
you're out.
Then I
you're
know
going to
he's
think
an
that
idiot.
Peters is a buffoon?
Yes.
What if Bieniemy gave the best interview?
I'm so confident. Give the best. I mean, the guy that went 0 for 17 in the previous? No. I'm so confident. I'm almost willing to put a tattoo bet out there. And believe me, I don't want to taint my beautiful body. They are not hiring Eric Bieniemy to be the water boy.
If they hire him, you should get the real EB with Eric Bieniemy's face
Yeah.
in the middle.
No.
Yeah, you said hold on.
That should be your pet
You
peeve.
said this week. You said this week if they hire him, he is now EB, and
Yeah.
you'll go as
And it
Eric
can't be on
or
your
E
butt cheek where
or
nobody sees
Bick
it. It's
or
got to be
Bick.
high profile.
Yeah. I'm willing to do that. I'm not willing to get a tattoo. I think tattoos are for losers. I'm not into it. So I know
What
everyone
if you get
has
a
one.
tattoo on a spot, like back of the neck where you can grow a mullet over it?
No.
Can't do that. No.
I'm anti-tattoo. I'm
Hey,
old
you
school.
should get a teardrop because you're so sad you're crying.
Like, that guy was in prison. Look at that teardrop tattoo.
No, I'm just old school that way. I can't taint this beautiful temple. But he ain't coming here, dude.
I don't think so
There
either.
is a 0.0% chance they're going to bring a guy in here that just failed miserably and then give him the whole operation.
No.
It's laughable on its face. And everybody says, oh, he deserves a chance. And I do agree on some sense because of all of this. But if you ask me, I don't care about chances. I just want to hire the best guy.
I don't
care
think
about
it's likely.
equity or- I just want the best guy.
I don't think it's likely. I don't think, based on what he did as an offensive coordinator this season for the Commanders, he deserves it. There is a possibility. I don't think it's likely. I think Ben Johnson's probably going to get the gig.
I'm losing
And that's
a little
simply
faith
based on
that.
that
Well,
comment.
we don't know.
No,
I'm losing faith on that.
the guy,
I'm not
though,
losing faith on my guy, Ben Johnson.
my dark
We're
horse,
interviewing 100 people.
my dark
That's
horse,
fine.
and he's got 4 second interviews this week.
Who? Who's your dark horse?
For some reason, I have a vibe on Raheem Morris.
I think there's something to that.
Like he
you
would
know
be
why?
my second
You know why?
favorite.
He's known as a leader. And Adam Peters, and he's great in the locker room. Adam Peters made a point of saying he doesn't care if you're offense, defense, he just wants a leader.
Mm-hmm.
Raheem Morris fits that bill. And I could work up a lather for Raheem Morris.
I could not. Seems like a very uninspired, as the kids say, mid-hire. Raheem Mid-Morris.
No. He's a young prodigy. He's been in the game since
He's
from a
been
young
around
age.
for a long. Of course, he's
And
been
his
here.
boys with Kyle Shanahan, all those guys. I'm telling you, I could work up a lather for Raheem Morris.
I'd work up
Bieniemy, I'd
zero
kill.
Even though
ladder
he's a
for him.
defensive guy.
Yes, because he is a leader.
Yeah.
And he'd probably bring over, I'm seeing that the passing game coordinator of the Rams. Everybody know McVay calls the plays, right? So everybody wants, well, who's right underneath
Well, I
McVay?
like their passing game. Don't get me wrong. I do like their passing
Everybody
game.
wants
in
the
LA.
guy right underneath McVay, and that passing game coordinator, I believe, is interviewing for an OC job somewhere. But if you brought a guy like Raheem Morris might say, hey, come with me.
Yeah, of
You'll
course.
be my OC.
Can they bring
Like,
Puka
that's part of this
Nakua
whole
and
thing.
Cooper Kupp in his prime.
Can they
Part
bring
of every
Kyrie Williams?
interview is part of every. It's a given. Every interview is all right. Who's your staff? Tell me your staff right now. Who's your OC? Who's your DC? Who's your quarterback's coach? Who's your whatever? These guys all have that all prepared. They know
Yes.
who's coming with them.
Yes, of course.
So that's a given.
This is simply perception because I feel like for some reason and for me, when I look at that list, Raheem Morris and Ben Johnson are the only two that I believe have a real shot.
Cakes.
Right? I don't think Dan Quinn, Aaron Glenn, Slowick, I actually don't think any of those guys have a shot. And
Why not
Slowick's going to interview
Slowick?
tonight. Probably just recency watching the game against
I
the
think
Ravens.
that's
They
just-
scored 3 points.
Well,
offensive.
Incredible
It's a
defense.
ridiculous defense.
He's still gonna be getting
He
interviews
had a
left
rookie
and right.
quarterback.
Of course,
against an
he's got interviews.
incredible
He's got-
defense.
Yeah.
They all have. I don't know how the NFL did it. If the NFL told these teams, hey, here are the guys, the up and coming coordinators. This is who you got to interview because they're all interviewing the same guys.
But if that's your mentality, Why isn't Mike McDonald your number one choice?
Yeah, he maybe should be.
I mean, his name should be floating out there
Who
more.
would you rather have? And I know you're anti-defense.
Maybe I'm just forgetting
This
that
is
Mike
very-
McDonald
this
was
is
on the list.
documented. Anti-defense.
I got
yes,
it. I got it.
I'd rather
that
have
moniker.
I'd rather have McDonald than Maurice.
By the way, I didn't say my number one choice. I said my vibe right now. And it's just a
I know,
guess.
you
Like if
said-
I had to bet, if I had to go to the window, I would put some money on Raheem Morris after the favorite, which is
I would
Ben
put
Johnson.
all my money on Ben Johnson, but now I'm fading on that because it's taken so long, and I don't know what's going on.
because his team's still in
He's
it.
still playing.
Yeah, but they could still give it to him.
I don't know.
Yeah, but he's only at
they
a
don't
Zoom.
do it in.
I don't-
You
He's
can't
only
do it
at a
in
Zoom.
You can
person.
accept it.
Yeah, but
It's happened before, and you just keep coaching. You accept it, and you say, "But I can't." It's done. It's happened.
But maybe they
before.
want to meet him in person first.
Okay, fair enough. I'm just saying that's just my vibe I've gotten.
Two things. Gannon and what's the name? Shane Steichen from the Colts were hired after the Super Bowl last year. And when J.P. Finley talks in code,
I know it means something.
it means
Believe,
something. When he
but
says
I'm
all
losing
signs
faith in
point
it.
All
to
signs
Benji.
point to Ben.
I'm losing faith on it just because of the time. But here's my question. I'm just going back to Cakes.
Yes,
You're anti-defense.
correct.
But
Which is a correct take, by the way.
And I'm a little tainted by the Cowboys getting smoked in this last game too.
All right.
Okay.
Yeah.
But Dan Quinn or Raheem Morris, who would you prefer? I know you don't want either guy.
I have to pick one of those two.
I want Raheem Morris over Dan Quinn every time.
I'll be honest. I was a little bit swayed by, again, J.P. Finley's tweet, I think from about 2 weeks ago, where he said Dan Quinn is like the best guy out on the circuit. Leader of men.
Did you watch his last game,
I
Cakes?
wouldn't want to pick.
That
I
didn't
did.
sway you?
I
He
did.
might be in the mix too. He actually
You
might be in the
can't.
Let
mix.
me
you
just go
can't.
on record.
I think so too.
God-
I said that weeks ago. Yeah, I like Dan Quinn.
Anti-defense Cakes doesn't want to pick either of these people. But if I had to pick either one,
You take Quinn over Morris?
I'd begrudgingly take Dan Quinn.
out
But
of
I
those-
don't want to pick either one.
But if I had to add a name,
Feels like Ron Rivera.
if I
was
added
again.
a name, I would take Vrabel over both Quinn. And
I like
Raheem.
Vrabel too.
I
And
would take Vrabel over Quinn and
I would
Raheem.
love,
Probably would
love
do
to
that,
hear your
but-
guys' top three
Defensive
ranking.
guys?
No, not defensive. Just
Well,
the
Just
top
top
three
three.
guys
one
that you
defensive
want.
guy in my rankings.
The problem is I'm trying to stay out of it because I don't know enough about the guys.
I like McDonald a
I'm
lot too.
literally making surface. You know what I'm saying? I'm making like Raheem Morris. I feel like I have a good sense for. He's been around a long time. But like Mike McDonald, I'm
Yeah.
making a surface value.
Genius.
To me, Raheem
like
Morris,
it.
I haven't
like
even
the
seen
fan
the guy
base,
talk.
I think if you present Raheem Morris, even though he's clearly qualified, he's been a head coach before, I think the fan base would go, blah, for Raheem.
You're
Raheem
probably
Dude,
right.
I think he's beloved. I think people love
Okay,
my
that might-
perception.
And you know
of
what?
Raheem
Like the
Morris-
inner
I
circle,
think
that
they
might be
would
the
do the
perception.
I think
same
players
thing.
But
love him.
I think if you ask Donk fans,
All right, fans, ask fans, listeners right now, boom. But if they hired Raheem Morris, what's your blank?
oh, I don't think it's going to be great.
Let's just, I'm going to do first 10 calls.
I don't
I'll,
think
I'll put it up as the
What's
Junkies
your
poll
blank?
of the day, brought to you by Van Meter Homes.
1067. We don't have a guest next, do we?
Would you be excited for a Raheem Morris hire?
Now, our guest at 9 o'clock, I know people would not be excited. I'm just saying.
He's not being considered. Hugh Jackson is not on anybody's list, though he obviously has head
No.
coaching experience.
All right. Sorry, it came to my mind. All right. 800-636-1067. Valdez.
And again, I don't want to lean on Donk fans to make the decision.
I know.
I want Peters and Harris
will.
and their group. Like, I want the experts to make the call.
I
But as
trust
long
them.
as it's your guy, because if
Oh, I
Morris
want it to
then
be my
went,
guy.
if Morris went defense, then you're going to lose faith in Peters.
I trust
that's
him
true.
on any donkey hires except for Bieniemy. If he hires Bieniemy, I'm out on Peters. I'm telling you that right now.
Immediately
I
out.
will
He's
say
not
he's
going to
gonna
hire
fail,
Bieniemy. He's not going to hire
and
Bieniemy.
he's terrible. And he was what's the guy's name?
He can
that
get.
worked
He could
for?
be easily persuaded
Yeah,
and
who
hoodwinked.
was the safety he worked for?
John Lynch.
He's John
John Lynch.
Lynch's bitch boy,
Yeah,
and,
he's
he's,
puppet.
and he's a moron. If he hires Bieniemy, anybody
it's
else he
not
hires
happening.
gets the benefit
You
of the
don't
doubt.
even have to raise your blood pressure thinking about Bieniemy getting hired
No, I know.
because it's not
Thanks,
happening.
I know it. I'm almost willing to risk a tattoo over it. Okay, and I'm anti-tattoo.
We know you're anti-tattoo.
Yeah.
You don't want to take your temple.
Yeah, exactly. Can I bang out the calls?
All right, we'll do that when we get back. We'll
Yeah.
give
We
us
gotta
your
do a poll.
Give us your blink on Raheem Morris as the next
I
coach
could run through a brick wall for Raheem Morris.
of the committee. I could not.
I'd jump off the building if they hired Bieniemy.
Now, note, we reported Slowick being interviewed tonight.
Yes.
Raheem is getting a second interview in person, but he's doing that with 4 teams.
I think Raheem is going to
Yeah.
blow people away.
The Junkies poll of the day, brought to you by Van Meter Homes, has only been up for 6 minutes. but we should flip his name around to, instead of Raheem Morris, to Raheem Morris, because 76% say not excited about the possibility
I know the pulse
of
of the
Raheem
people.
Morris.
But
I am a man of the people.
Like you said, who cares what the people think? You just want the
that
best
part
guy.
is true.
Right. I'm just telling you, my sense is that guy has a chance to be really good. He's older now. He was kind of like a young prodigy, one of these young. What was he? How old was he? 28, 29 when he was head coach of the Bucks? He was really young.
32,
He's only
I thought.
47 now.
About 32.
Yeah, he was really young. I don't know.
Fans are probably feeling that way because, one, he's a defensive guy, and number two, he wasn't successful as a head coach.
All right, let's bang out these calls. Let's go to Joe in Manassas. Hey, Joe, what's up?
What's up, junkies? Love the show as always. EB, you're tripping as always. Come on, man. Like, dud. That's a dud. Super dud. Like Cake said, man, you need an offensive-minded guy. And what you talk about leader of men. Yeah, I mean, guys love him, but what has he led? What has he led anyone to? what has he done? He's got fired from his job that he already had a head coaching job.
He's been a
coordinator.
I will defend him in this
multiple times.
I don't think the Rams, outside of Aaron Donald this past season, had much on their defense, and their defense is pretty scrappy. So, I think he did a lot with a little outside of an All-Pro in Aaron Donald. That defense is not littered with household names, and they made it to the playoffs. So he's doing something right. I just don't know if he's the right guy for this job right now.
If your priority is you want a leader, so obviously that would put your guy Dan Quinn in if you take the quotes from the personnel guy.
I'm just responding to the fan. What has he done? Wasn't he the defensive coordinator for the Rams when they won the Super Bowl?
I don't know how long he's been there. I know he's bounced around.
Yes.
Raheem Morris was there, right?
Yes. Started as defense coordinator in 2020.
Well, that was Stanley, wasn't he?
I'm sorry?
The Chargers coach just got fired.
Staley,
yeah.
He's been with the Rams from 21 till now.
21.
Don't you guys remember last week when I read all those stats that when Raheem Morris takes over defense, they plummet in the rankings? Like they go from 8th to 27th at every stop he's ever had?
Maybe he's assistant head coach and he had a different
I'm just
title.
telling you, my perception is guys love him. If you're looking for a lead, and I understand he has leadership. If you're looking for a leader, he's your guy. Quinn's your guy.
Okay,
I don't know about Ben Johnson. I don't know about his leadership skills.
He was hired by the Rams in 2021.
In 21.
Yes, he replaced Brandon Staley. So I was reading he was defense coordinator of the Falcons.
I can't remember years anymore. Yeah. When did they win the freaking Super
He's
Bowl?
won 2 Super Bowls.
I thought he was the defensive coordinator for the Rams when they beat the Bengals.
Correct.
Maybe he was.
He was.
I don't know. I'm not arguing with you. I can't remember anything.
Rams defeated the Bengals in Super Bowl LVI.
I'm reading it. He was. Yes, he won his second Super Bowl. This is Wikipedia. He won his second Super Bowl as the Rams defeated the Bengals in Super Bowl.
So there you go.
56, I believe.
So what's he done?
He won LVI.
He won
Roman numeral stink. And we can all agree on that.
Yes.
I mean, he was on the staff.
They're dumb.
Yeah. I mean, I disregard that guy. I mean, are you kidding?
What? The guy what he said. What's he done? Well, I just wanted to point something out. He's done something.
Like a donk.
Wasn't a great head coach, but he's obviously done pretty well as a coordinator.
He insulted me the first 2 seconds of the call. Let's go to Mark.
That's when we thought he was brilliant.
Mark.
Hey, not many people down here in Tampa would think he's such a great hire. He's like a younger version of what you already had. He's a good people person, good defensive mind. But as far as a coach, they started 0-7. They finished 3-13, had a mediocre year in year 2, year 3, 4-12. So get ready for more of what you used to if that's who you hire.
I don't think mediocre. He was 10-6 his second season, to be fair.
That's true.
But he had 2 losing seasons out of 3.
You're right. American Nightmare, definitely must view. And Jason, you're right on.
I know. I told him yesterday.
All right. Thank you, buddy. Let's go to...
Going to watch one episode today. I'm going to sample.
Okay, but you have to watch 3 because you'll be blown away.
If I watch the first and I get riveted, of course I'm going to watch the
other. I'm just saying, you watch. Yeah, you're not going to turn away after watching 1.
You're probably right.
All
right, let's go to Aaron.
EP's American Nightmare is if Bieniemy got hired as the head coach.
Right.
That is correct.
He's so bad.
Hey, fellas, I just got to say, as a fan of another football team, listening to this unbridled optimism kind of has me chuckling a bit. It's like you guys are a bunch of middle school girls with boy crushes waiting for one of them to give you a ring on the phone or something. But
hold on, I just prefaced it all by saying I get excited for all these guys, and I'm used to disappointment. I mean,
Well, there you go. That's the classic middle school girl crush right there. The thing
Does that
is,
make
like,
any
you
sense?
guys
So
are-
who should we have the crush on?
It also has to burn EB that the Lions are making an NFC Championship game. Now,
They're just the
it's
Lions.
The Commanders and the
no,
Cowboys
it
have
doesn't
the
burn
longest
me
droughts.
because they're a horrific franchise, but they got a great talent this year, no doubt.
Yeah.
No doubt.
Yeah, guys, get off Raheem Morris, please. As a fan of another team, like,
Hey,
just stop.
we're not drumming up the
guy-
interest on him. We're just telling you he's coming in for another interview.
We're not all
You know,
behind
you're
Raheem.
shipping him. You're starting to get like, I support him. He would be a good hire. Just stop.
That's
The
one
why
guy.
he
It's
wasn't.
my opinion. I
That's
think
one-
if
hold on.
I'm saying
None of us know if anybody's going to be a good hire. Okay, we all
I'm
thought
just giving you my
we all thought
guess.
Dan Campbell was a
If they're
buffoon.
basing it on leader, my understanding is he's a great leader. He's great in the locker room, so I think he has a shot.
Players like him.
That's all.
He's also under Todd Bowles' tutelage as a defensive coordinator, making his bones right now, the same way ED was under Andy Reid's tutelage for offensive play calling. So has he been, like, by himself yet and proven it? He tried that a while ago as a head coach and failed miserably.
He was the defensive coordinator of the Rams
By the way, we haven't even touched on.
There's a good.
and the Falcons, by the way.
He could have been he could be just a good coordinator. That's true.
I would never, ever, and I mean ever, consider hiring Todd Bowles. I wouldn't even hire him to bring my garbage to the end of my
Oh,
driveway.
you have Bieniemy hate for Bowles.
Why?
Well, he
just saved his job.
Are you upset about the not using the timeout?
Yes.
Well, you realize
he just let the clock bleed away. Said,
he
you know
explained
what?
it.
Game's over. We're
He
just
explained
We're
it.
going to let the time go away. We're not even going to try to grasp and
Okay.
tie the game.
You're going to nitpick.
Inexcusable.
Had he done the timeout bit, they would have got the ball back with 10 seconds. If the other team takes the fastest possible snaps. So if he had used the first timeout under your scenario, the other team would have responded by not taking a quick victory formation knee. They would waste a couple seconds.
You hire
It was
Todd Bowles
moot.
all day.
It's the dumbest argument ever.
I wouldn't hire him to make my breakfast in the morning.
Cakes.
Let alone
They
run
wouldn't have
my
gotten the ball
NFL
back.
team.
That particular complaint could be a stretch, but he's had a lot of
It points
clock
to
management
bigger
issues.
clock
He's had a
mismanagement.
ton of clock management issues in his time in Tampa, no doubt. He has.
Oh, I'd assume he has a clock management guy
I don't know
whispering
if
in
you
his
can
ear.
assume
No,
that.
he's-
I mean, if you
Every
assume
team doesn't
that,
have a clock management guy?
No,
That's
I don't know.
unbelievable to
It
me.
doesn't,
That's
didn't seem,
unbelievable.
didn't seem
I've
very
talked about that for
smart.
years.
Didn't seem very smart to just let the game end.
But again, he explained it away.
Well,
Okay,
it's
you
a
can
dumb,
explain it all
Skippy,
day
it's a
long.
dumb explanation. Try and at least try
So-
and win the game.
If the opponent goes in victory formation and they take a knee, all right, the math
Dan
would have
Campbell-
been 10 seconds left if they took an immediate knee.
Dan Campbell was
If
giving
the
him a
first
lifeline.
timeout is used and they see that they're doing that, they'll take a little bit more
It's like
time
Todd
until they
Bowles-
get touched.
Todd Bowles was drowning. He was flailing, and Dan Campbell's throwing him a life jacket. And Todd Bowles just let it float away.
I'm not saying he's a great coach.
I'll never
However,
forgive that.
I would have thought that team would have
Ever.
fallen off more
like he banged your
after
wife or
Tom
something.
Brady.
I mean,
No,
it's
I'm
just-
with Cakes.
it's
I'm with
awful.
Cakes. It's actually it's
terrible
idiocy.
coaching.
It's idiocy, and just to assume that what's going to happen is going to happen.
And just to
that's
explain
dumb.
it away, it's
Yeah,
awful.
dumb. He's stupid. It's dumb.
If I were the
I'm with you,
Blazers,
Cakes.
I would have fired him on the spot.
On the spot. I would have kicked
Here are
him.
your walking papers. Goodbye.
Why would have made him walk home?
Just to go back to that NFLPA poll for what it's worth, I think over 800 players responded to the poll. Might have been 1,800, whatever it was. Aaron Glenn, we haven't really talked about him at all, who's the defensive coordinator
I'm out
of
on
the
him.
Lions,
Didn't like him.
was
in
the
Hard Knocks.
number
I like
one
Glenn.
ranked defensive coordinator by the players.
I know.
Who was?
Aaron Glenn.
Aaron Glenn.
Right, well, where was Raheem in that?
I don't think he was in
finished
it.
number 5.
Okay.
It was Aaron Glenn 1, Steve Wilkes 2, who's the DC of the
People
49ers.
say nice things
who
about
I
him.
think did he have just one season as a head coach and he got hosed? I feel
Yeah,
like he had a
with the
very
Cardinals,
short.
right?
He used to. I believe he used to work here at some point.
Yeah, I think so
He
too.
was a DB guy. Or
Dan
something.
Quinn was 3, and
Everyone used
Brian
to work
Flores 4. Who? Brian Flores, and then Raheem Morris 5.
Right.
By the way,
Flores was with
we
the
haven't talked
Vikings
about
this
it
year.
yet, but
Yeah.
the Titans, not that this guy was
Brian
kind of off the
Callahan.
radar, but I don't think he was as popular as some of these other names.
He
but
was ranked
Brian
number
Callahan,
4 by the players.
Brian Callahan, who was the OC for the Bengals, is now going to be the head guy in Tennessee.
All right, let's go real quick. Let's go to PJ Reston. PJ.
Hey guys, thanks for having me.
Yep.
So if it was a normal year, I think Raheem Morris would be like a pretty good hire. But it's a special year where there's like a lot more like promising young candidates out there. Yeah, they're a little bit uncertain. Bobby Slowick, Ben Johnson, but you got to have to kind of go for it. So I would much rather, we go with like Ben Johnson would be my first choice, Mike Vrabel number 2, and then maybe like Dan Quinn or Mike McDonald after that. But yeah, I'm with you guys. Morris would be probably a good coach, but we have a chance to get a potential genius like a Ben Johnson. If you look around the NFL, you look at like Kyle Shanahan, McVay, Mike McDaniels. It doesn't mean that Ben Johnson is necessarily going to be as good as those guys, but he might be. And I think we got to roll the dice with that. And I agree with you guys on Bieniemy too. I'm so happy that he's probably not going to be the coach. His biggest genius idea was changing like the day off from like Monday to Tuesday or something weird like that. Like if that's like and he's a play caller, he's a terrible play caller, but if that's your genius idea and like all the fans were getting on the players because they didn't want to have a day off change. I'm more getting on Bieniemy. It's like you can't have a tactical idea to improve the team. Your genius idea is just to change a day off of when you guys rest. Like what is that,
All right,
thank you, buddy. Thank you.
Appreciate the time.